ANC NEC member Lindiwe Sisulu is due to appear before the party's Integrity Commission this week. Now, this is to explain the sentiments contained in her opinion piece about the judiciary and the constitution. The minister has reportedly already appeared before the party's top brass to explain her apparent defiance of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Meanwhile, ANC Deputy Secretary General Jessie Duarte has seemingly come to Sisulu's defense through her own opinion piece. So how will the ANC actually handle this matter in an elective conference here? Well, let's unpack this for you. Bring in political analyst Sandile Swana, who's with us via our video link. Sandile, great to see you as always. Thanks very much for making time to chat to us. So in Jessie Duarte's opinion piece, I say she seemingly comes to Lindiwe Sisulu's defense because at some stage of the piece itself, she's actually critical to some of her decisions. But what Jessie Duarte says in part is that what she is doing should not be viewed within the context of the December elective conference. But is that how you see what's going on?
I think that there is a case there. If, for instance, anybody, let's say a second-year student at UCT or VETS had published such an opinion piece in the context of decoloniality and decolonizing the mind, for instance, it would have been discussed in that manner. And it's a discussion that is current since the Roads Must Fall started in the intellectual communities and the African intelligentsia across the continent. So I think there's an unnecessary drama around Lindiwe Sisulu's article. On top of that, Lindiwe Sisulu wrote this article as an activist, not as a cabinet minister, and the head of the transformation committee of the ANC, etc., etc. So I would look as an activist writing that, not a cabinet minister, and try to mix it with the affairs of state.
Yeah. In fact, Jessie Duarte says the reaction to Lindiwe Sisulu's article almost amounted to a coordinated attack on her person, adding, Jessie Duarte, that is, that, part of the reaction was because Lindiwe Sisulu is a woman, at least insinuating that. That suggests to me that what Jessie is saying is that if a man had written what Lindiwe Sisulu had written, the reaction wouldn't have been the same. Do you agree with that?
No, I think that is taking it too far. But what I will say is that, the ANC is in a desperate situation. As you know, that not only are they having their own elections, they've had their own insurrection in the ANC and in the country. They've lost 50% of the electoral support. Now, when they are panicked like that, that philosophy of Stalinism and the iron fist is starting to come through. And what basically they want to do with Lindiwe Sisulu, they are going to try and persuade her to move away from any idea of contesting Ramaphosa and having a single slate to a very large degree, contesting the elections of this 2022 in the ANC. So that's where this is going. It has got nothing to do with the intellectual content of what she was saying, more especially around the constitution and the judiciary.
Yeah. In fact, and this is my last reference to Jessie Duarte's opinion piece, what Jessie Duarte has said is that Lindiwe Sisulu's response to that statement by the presidency took away from the substance of what she was saying. Because here we are now also talking about this potential contest that's going to take place between these two figures in December. And Jessie Duarte says, ironically, that took away from what you were actually saying, a sentiment it appears that you might share to some degree.
Yeah, I think that, we can go back to the coordinated attack kind of position that Jessie Duarte raised. And Cyril fell for that, Cyril Ramaphosa fell for that. I don't know how you involve the state and the presidency in that. And the issue, by the way, concerning that statement, takes me back to 2007 when Thabo Mbeki said, in the ANC, a new culture has entered, which is the culture of leaders actually telling lies, just standing up and telling lies. Right now, we do not know whether the presidents, including Cyril Ramaphosa, lied when they said Lindiwe Sisulu offered the type of apology that they published, or Sisulu herself is lying. But what it says is that the ANC is now led by liars. That is where we are for the time.
What we do know, however, is that it appears that Lindiwe Sisulu did appear before the top six of the ANC, no telling what was said. But I guess we can deduce perhaps what the outcome of that meeting was in a context now where she's expected to appear before the Integrity Commission. What are you reading into that?
Yes, there are two things that came out of that. One is that she must continue engagement with Mabuza, the deputy president, and that engagement will be an engagement in essence that says, Lindiwe, we need one slate. We could give you deputy secretary general position or some other position, but don't contest the presidency, because that's what the ANC is busy with right now. The Integrity Commission has got a big job here. Whatever threats they want to issue to her, she's got freedom of speech. You know, you can raise the question whether Thabo Mbeki herself should not have been brought before such a structure, or even before the top six, for his stance on HIV and AIDS. Because he published his opinions left, right, whilst people were dying. And what Lindiwe Sisulu has published is tame. Because, and I say it is tame because the ANC is the toothless dog. When the ANC had more than 70% of the votes in South Africa and the positions in parliament, they didn't change the constitution. Right now, they've fallen below 50%, and people are worried that Lindiwe Sisulu is starting a movement to change the constitution. What is that all about?
It almost appears the ANC's got bigger problems, and in fact, the situation since then, I'm afraid, may have worsened in a context where we're now dealing with the outcome of this panel report into the July inquiry that found, in part, that it's actually the factionalism within the ANC that has become a cause for great concern in creating instability in this country. That is scathing, to put it mildly.
Yes, I think, it took us time, some of us, to get to that point, but we did get there to understand that the entire killing of people, the entire looting, and the continuing insurrectious behavior, if there's such a word, the sabotage that continues in the country and during ANC conferences, is orchestrated by top leaders in the ANC, jeopardizing the security of businesses in the country, the security of citizens, as well as the security of the nation itself and the state. So, and it comes from within, and it's because of factionalism. And that is the issue that Mabuza is seized with in dealing with Sisulu. To say, Sisulu, let's all belong to one faction, one way or the other.
Sure. Plenty to unpack, of course. We'll get a better sense of what was decided at that meeting between the Sisulu and the Party's Integrity Commission after it happens. But for now, thanks very much indeed for helping us connect the dots as best as you can. Sandile Swana, of course, a political analyst, helping us throw forward to that meeting whenever it does take place.